was Algie the Miner.
Yeah, this movie I think made me kind of commit even further to my idea that like Aliski is trying to put explicit queer coding into movies.
I mean, this is definitely queer coded. Yeah.
Yeah, like this is the one where it's like, all right, this is not. I can't just be like, oh, it's because she's French.
Yeah. I mean, I think he. So it's this very like effeminate man,
Algie,
Algie. He's
who
not
was
a
played,
swamp man,
who was
but
played by the same actor as the gay cowboy in Parts and Soon.
oh, he. I guess he just plays gay cowboys.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard to say like how much he is being made fun of here. I mean, I think a lot of it is the comedy is making fun of him being like a sissy, basically.
Yes. No. A lot of the comedy is definitely at his expense, I think. Although he is the main character, and the movie does paint him as sort of the I don't know if necessarily a heroic figure. I guess a somewhat heroic figure.
Yeah, yeah. The basic setup of this is that he's trying to win the hand in marriage of this lady. So, but her dad thinks that he's like not enough of a man to marry his daughter, and so he says that you have to prove yourself to be a man within a year, and then I'll let you marry my daughter. So he heads off west to become a cowboy to prove himself as a real man. But he's extremely effeminate.
Yeah.
He wears a lot of makeup, and he's got like this tiny girly gun and like these basically limp wristed, I would say, in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
And he's got like these kind of fancy clothes and gloves and whatnot. And when he arrives in the West, he actually like kisses the cowboys as a thank you for giving him direction.
And they're like, "Hey, what are you doing?" Yeah, he in the western town he meets Big Jim, who's like this big, gruff cowboy type, and I guess come to an agreement that Big Jim is going to teach him how to be a proper man. I don't know.
Yeah, I think so.
And yeah, there's like a thing where like Big Jim gives him like a bigger gun. That's subtle. And so that there's a scene a little later on where Big Jim is getting waylaid by some bandits, and Algie fights them off. It's sort of like the whole kind of second act of the movie is them like learning from each other and kind of coming to this like respect for it's like, oh, like we're not so different after all kind of thing.
Yeah, and I mean, the movie makes fun a lot of Algie's effeminateness, but I think that like there's a scene that happens toward the middle of the movie where Big Jim is like racked by his alcoholism and he is having a really rough time, and Algie cares for him, and that's like sort of when he starts to kind of see him as an equal, I guess, or respect him, which I guess is showing some of the benefit of like the more feminine side of Algie.
Yeah, it is another, I think, example of like it doesn't really read as progressive from a modern viewpoint, but I think for the time it definitely stands out from a lot of the other movies that we're watching in terms of like, I don't know, minority representation.